Previously, in the anime, the weakest commoner was bullied to death by nobles and royal boys, but that boy instead enjoyed the powerful spell that caused his death. But incidentally, our protagonist was reborn as the seventh prince of the kingdom. His name was Lloyd, and he had exceptional abilities from birth this time, plus he just wants to learn magic and nothing more. But his maid waifu, Sylpha, always kept her eyes on Lloyd. She is her maid as well as her tutor and taught Lloyd swordsmanship. Sylpha even takes Lloyd to the bath to keep an eye on him, or else Lloyd will always get buried in library researching magic spells. But, just to scare him, some maids told him about a sealed demon in the basement of Forbidden Library, so Lloyd checked out the Forbidden Library and there overpowered the demon at the age of 10. Grimoire swore his loyalty to Lloyd, and becomes his familiar, but then, his second brother comes to the library to meet Lloyd, so Lloyd tells Grimoire to hide in time. And there Albert walks in. He invited Lloyd to a shooting ground and used fire spell to shoot the targets. Everyone was impressed by his precision. And that's why Albert was expected to be the next candidate for King's throne. So now it's Lloyd's turn to shine, but he wants to hide his powers to avoid power struggles, so he used a fire, then rotated it in speed and hits the target barely with a curve spell. Curve spell is much harder than normal spell, and no one thought Lloyd hit all of the target. But Lloyd doesn't care about the criticism eyes. But then Albert goes off after that. And now the shooting range was owned by the Shota prince. He got a wild idea to use Grimoire and his double incantation to mix human and demon spell. And Grimoire was freaking out because this nutjob magic freak is about to pull something impossible again. He absorbed Grimoire, which was impossible from the start. He syncs up with Grimoire, and there he tries to synchronize his magic with Lloyd. But when Grimoire saw the terrifically huge calculated space of incantation, Demon got his eyes ball out. So a little explanation was that Lloyd was mixing and matching a lot of spells to reduce time. It's a clean cheating, and there Lloyd manipulated and exchanged his mouth with Grimoire. It was the way to recite two types of spell, and the huge chuck of energy started get submerged into one. A demon himself was getting scared by the little monster in human skin, and there Lloyd got a success. Lloyd got the urge to shoot the spell, so he shoots it into the sky, and while he makes that miracle, followers of Albert asks him why he's getting along with Lloyd. They thinks he's useless. But Alberta knew Lloyd hit his target fair and square, so getting Lloyd on his side will be helpful. But then suddenly the knifefall happened because Lloyd made a hole in reality itself. It was a big mess up, so he took back his spell immediately. Truly a monster. So the next day, the hole was featured in the newspaper and no one had a clue who did it, but Lloyd noticed the A-rank adventurer and the news of them clearing dungeons, so Kid thought of going to one. For that he created a replica from Akron with a perfect body down to an inch. But it's still hard to escape Sylpha's eyes. This one time, Sylpha came to Lloyd and noticed he grew 0.07 millimeters tall. She has God's eye for Lloyd, but Lloyd had a plan and escaped the next day. He had Grimoire possessed that body and could talk through telepathy. Lloyd separated and mergers Grimoire's souls to that copy, and Grimoire could see Lloyd with one eye, so the only alarm was Sylpha and he has to keep a perfect act around her. But suddenly, he realized he has control over this body, but there Lloyd tells him he's glad that he got Grim as his familiar. Those words made the demon cry. But he acts as if nothing happened, so Lloyd left the castle, but didn't know where dungeon was. And there he saw a bubble gum girl was fighting with monsters. Her power was kicking the heck out of her opponents, and Lloyd knew there are some foreign countries that uses chi instead of mana throughout their body, and the girl knew Lloyd was watching and called him out. Lloyd wants to talk but Grimoire reminds him he's the seventh prince of Saloom Kingdom. Getting no response, Tao thought it's an enemy, but when she saw the guy, she falls flat. Lloyd created a mix imitation of his and Albert looks. But Tao has gone mad. She's 18 and she had a hard time finding a man, but now her springtime has come with this cutie. And Lloyd still had intention of getting to the dungeon, so as a B-rank adventurer, Tao takes him there. She tries to impress Lloyd, but he was busy snatching up loots. Then moving ahead, Lloyd asks Tao about chi attacks and it gets into a nice talk. So Tao there tells him that chi is a sort of breathing technique, and it gives a destructive powers to the user. But there Lloyd was giving it a shot, and Tao was trying to impress the guy. But she noticed Lloyd was breathing heavily and his lungs gave out. Lloyd imitated chi training just by listening, and Tao freaked out. But Lloyd felt the surge of new power in him. So Tao offers a helping hand to Lloyd to learn chi breathing. His smiling face makes her heart flutter even more, and Grimoire was chilling out, but not anymore since Silpha showed up. That's one heck of a smile. And in the dungeon, our duo cleared the dungeon boss and now they could get the treasure, and Lloyd learns that chest could only open when the dungeon boss is beaten. There he was getting used to the chi breathing and Tao felt like she hit the jackpot for a life partner, but, when she tried to open the box, a trap got activated. Lloyd saved Tao in nick of time. And a lich came out as a hidden boss, so that's where episode 2 of the anime ends, and if you haven't seen the previous first episode, the playlist link is in the description,